Hey guys, welcome to Great Learning. Microsoft Excel is considered to be one of the best and premium Microsoft Office suites that the world has seen today. It has numerous reasons to justify it because of its easy arithmetic solutions, formatting options, online access, charts for analysis, and many more. You might have heard the statement, time is money, and that's exactly why we are having today's video. So in today's video, we'll be discussing about Excel keyboard shortcuts and how it plays a crucial role in every Excel user around the globe. On that note, are you guys excited to get started? Well, let's go. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any queries or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments. Alright guys, so talking about the agenda for today's video. First, we'll be discussing why keyboard shortcuts play an important role in Microsoft Excel. Then we'll be directly moving into keyboard shortcuts. I have divided keyboard shortcuts into 4 parts because in Microsoft Excel there are n number of keyboard shortcuts. In this video, we'll be discussing the most important and useful keyboard shortcuts in respective categories. So first, we'll be discussing the most frequently used basic shortcuts. Then, we'll discuss shortcuts for navigation only. After which, we'll be discussing shortcuts for formatting cells. And finally, we'll discuss about the shortcuts for selection and performing actions. Alright guys, so let's get started. Why keyboard shortcuts play an important role in Microsoft Excel? Now, MS Excel is used all around the globe. To name a few areas where MS Excel is used, for example, business analysis, financial analysis, data management, accounting, charting and graphing, and many more. The one thing that is very common in all these areas are the productivity in doing these works. And that's exactly where Excel keyboard shortcuts becomes handy. Now, these keyboard shortcuts helps the user cut short time in doing their works, and in return it increases the productivity. Increasing the productivity in any company generates revenue. So now, I believe that you guys have understood what is the importance of using keyboard shortcuts in Microsoft Excel. Alright guys, so let's move on to the fun part of the video where we'll be indulging with the shortcut keys. So keyboard shortcut classification. We'll be discussing here the frequently used basic shortcut keys. So here I have listed down the basically used shortcut keys along with the definition and explanation of each shortcut keys and what are its purposes so that you can understand it theoretically. Now I'll be moving on to the live workbook to make you understand how it works practically. Okay, so let's start off with the first shortcut key, that is Ctrl W. Let's see what happens. As soon as I hit the Ctrl W, you can see that my spreadsheet was closed. So in order to open it again, I'll go to the file and click on the worksheet that I was working on. Similarly, Ctrl O is used for opening the worksheet. So if I hit Ctrl O right now, you can see that the file is opening in an open mode. Now here I can see the Excel keys that are Excel spreadsheets that are available, and I'll click on the sheet that I require. Now moving on to Control S. Control is used for saving. So if you have any edits in your live workbook, for example, I just put hello here and hit the enter button. So now if we try to close the workbook, Microsoft Excel will ask a pop-up to save the file. So instead of Microsoft Excel asking us to save, we can go ahead and click the Ctrl S button and then go ahead to close the workbook. So that's easy and simple. Now moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Ctrl C. So basically Ctrl C and Ctrl B, most of you might know it because you might have used it in Microsoft PowerPoint or MS Word, etc. So Ctrl C is basically for copying anything from one cell to another cell, and Ctrl V is used for pasting it. So Just now I did copy and pasted it in this cell. Now Control X is used to cut the contents from the cell and then go ahead and paste it wherever you require. So now what exactly is Control Z? So Control Z is the theoretical explanation is to undo whatever you had done earlier. So if I by mistakenly Control C and I pasted it in different places where I was not supposed to paste it. Okay, so if I want to undo this, I'll just click on Control Z and you can see that it's vanishing off. Now, what is exactly Control Y? Control Y is redo. So whatever I undid, if I want to get it back, you can use the Control Y option. Again, you can see that it's reappearing whatever I did earlier. Now, Control P. Control P is also very common nowadays because you have been using it in maybe in PowerPoint or MS Word. So Control P is basically used to print. You can use this option as a shortcut to print anything that is in your Excel content. So that's all from the frequently used basic shortcuts, and now let's move on to the next category, that is shortcuts for navigation. So under this category, I've listed down the shortcut keys that are used for the navigation purpose on the Excel workbook, and on the right side I have given the theoretical explanations for the roles of each key that it performs. Now let's move on to the live workbook to understand each of these keys practically. So let's get started with the first key, that is the tab key. The tab key is basically used to switch between the cells towards the right side, and shift tab key is basically used to switch between the cells towards the left side. The tab key becomes convenient when the data entry is sideways. For example, if you had to enter the scorecard of a student in sideways direction, for example for 3 subjects, so if I had to enter 3 marks, let's say M1, instead of hitting the enter button, I hit tab, M2, tab, M3, tab. So this way it's very convenient to use the tab key instead of enter key. Up next we have the key that is enter key. Enter key is basically used to shift between the cells in the downward direction, and shift enter key is used to shift between the cells in the upper direction. Moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Control Home and Control End. The Control Home shortcut key is used to move to the beginning of the spreadsheet, and Control End shortcut keys is used to move to the last used cell in the spreadsheet. Now when I hit Control Home, you can see that it has moved to the beginning of the worksheet, and when I hit the Control End, you can see that it has moved to the last cell that has been used in this spreadsheet that says hey guys. Up next we have the shortcut keys that are page up and page down. Both page up and page down are used to navigate up and down the worksheet. So now currently I am using the page down button to navigate to the downward direction of the spreadsheet. Now I am using the page up button to navigate to the upper direction of the workbook. Next we have the shortcut keys that are Control Page Up and Control Page Down. These keys are used to switch between sheets inside a workbook. So basically Control Page Up moves to the previous sheet and Control Page Down moves to the next sheet. Now I'll go back to the sheet which I was using. For that I will use Control Page Up. That's it. That's the sheet I was using, that is shortcuts for navigation. Now that we have understood the shortcuts for navigation, let's move ahead and understand the next category of shortcuts, that is shortcuts for formatting cells. As you can see on the screen, this is the first set of shortcut keys that are used for formatting the cell, and this is the second set of shortcut keys that are used for formatting the cells. Now, as before, I have given the theoretical explanations on the right for your understanding, and I will be using the same when I will be using these shortcut keys practically on a workbook. Now, let's move ahead and go to the live workbook. So let's start off with the first key, that is the F2 key. So basically the F2 key is used to edit any pre-existing content in a cell. For example, you can see the cell which is written hey in it. Let's move to that cell and click on the F2 button. You can see that the cursor comes up and we can make the necessary changes. So I'll change it to hey guys and hit the enter button. So that's the use of F2 key. Moving on, we have the next shortcut key is Control B. Control B is basically used to bold the content inside a cell or a range of cell. Let's go ahead and try it out. Click on the cell and hit Control B. Now let's select a range of cells and hit Control B. Both the content inside a cell and also the range of cells are converted into bold. Now if you had to bring these back to the normal format, just click on the cell and hit Ctrl B again. You can see that the content inside the cell have come to their normal format. In the similar fashion, we have the next two shortcut keys that are Ctrl I and Ctrl U. Ctrl I basically converts the content inside a cell or a range of cell into italics, and Ctrl U helps us underline the content inside a cell or a range of cell. Now let's go ahead and try these two shortcut keys. So first I'll click the cell and enter Ctrl I, and now I'll select the range of cells and hit Ctrl I. As you can see, all the contents have been changed to italics. Now I'll use the Ctrl U shortcut key. Let's see what happens, and as you can see, it has underlined whatever content inside the cell. So that's how these two shortcut keys works. Moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Ctrl 1, and as soon as we hit Ctrl 1, you can see a pop-up box comes up. It consists of the different ways that you can format a cell. You can use any one of these as per your requirements. Next we have the Shift plus F2 shortcut key. Shift plus F2 shortcut key basically adds or edits a comment. So I'll go ahead and hit Shift plus F2, and as you can see, a comment box comes up. I'll hit a comment like hello world and click on the next cell. Now as you can see, when I hover around the cell, the comment box pops up. Now if I had to edit the same comment box, I'll have to use the same shortcut key and make the changes. So that's how Shift and F2 shortcut key works. Next up we have the Ctrl plus T shortcut key. So Ctrl plus T shortcut key is basically used to create a table. Now I'll go ahead and select a range and then hit Ctrl plus T. Now we can see a dialog box that is coming up. They're asking for the source of the table, but Microsoft Excel has already and automatically taken up the source. They're asking me if I require my table as headers. Yes, I'll click on the checkbox and hit OK. And there you go. You can see the table getting formed. Next up, we have the two shortcut keys, that is Ctrl plus semicolon and Ctrl plus Shift plus colon. The Ctrl plus semicolon gives us today's date, and Ctrl plus Shift plus colon gives us our current time. So let me go ahead and try these shortcut keys. So as you can see, when I use the shortcut keys, the date, that is 8th of July 2021, and the current time is 1:04, and that's the date and time when this video is recorded. Next up we have Ctrl plus Shift plus exclamation mark. When applied on the cells, you can see that the cells were applied to number format with having 2 decimal points. Now moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Ctrl plus Shift plus $. When applied to the cell, you can see that the cells gets converted into currency format, and that is the use of this shortcut key. Now moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Ctrl plus Shift plus %. When applied, the cell gets converted into the percentage mode. So that's all the shortcut keys that is required for the formatting of cells. Now let's move ahead and discuss the next category of shortcut keys, that is shortcuts for selection and performing actions. As you can see on the screen, this is the one set of shortcut keys that is used for selection and performing action. Now moving on to the second set. As you can see on the screen now, this is the second set that is used for the same. And now moving on to the final set of shortcut keys that is used for the selection and performing action. Now, as always before, I have put the theoretical explanations to the role of each shortcut key for your understanding, and I'll be using the same while I'll be explaining it practically on the live workbook. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the live workbook. Now, let's get started with the first key, that is Control A. And when I click on Control plus A, you can see that this shortcut key is used to select the entire worksheet. Now, moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Shift plus arrow key. So, holding on Shift, when I move the arrow keys to different directions, you can see that the range of cell is selected, and this shortcut key is used to select a range of cells. Now, moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Control plus space. When we do that, you can see an entire column is getting selected. Now, when we hit Shift plus space, we can see an entire row is getting selected. So, Control plus space and Shift plus space. Control plus space is used for selecting an entire column, and Shift plus space is used for selecting an entire row. So that were the 4 shortcut keys that was for the selection purpose. Now moving on to the next 2 shortcut keys, that is Shift plus F11. Shift plus F11 basically adds a new sheet to the workbook. So as you can see here, there is a new sheet called Sheet 2. Now let's go back to our sheet and now understand what is the next shortcut, that is Control plus N. When you hit Control plus N, you can see the whatever we had in our workbook is blank. No need to worry. It's just a new workbook. As you can see, there is an entire new workbook that is getting created. So let's get back to our workbook. So from these 2 shortcuts, we can understand that Shift plus F11 is used for creating an extra sheet, and Control plus N is used for creating an entire new workbook. Now moving on, if we had to insert any row or column in between any of the cells, just click on the selected row, and then use Control and plus. You can see a new row gets inserted in between them. In the same way, I'll just undo this row. In the same way, if you had to insert any new column in between columns, you will just have to press Control plus, and you can see that a new column is getting created here. So Control plus does insert a row or column in between the rows or column, and now Control minus does the exact vice versa. So basically, when Control plus inserts a column and a row, Control minus removes a column or a row in between a column or a row. Now moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Control plus 9. Now observe carefully. When I hit Control plus 9, you can see there is a row that is getting hidden over here, and to get back that row we need to hit Control Shift plus 9. So basically a Control plus 9 is used to hide a row, and Control plus Shift plus 9 is used to unhide a row. Next up we have Alt plus F1. So the shortcut key Alt plus F1 is used for creating charts, and to show and display this use of this shortcut key, we'll select a range of cells and hit Alt plus F1. There you go. You can see a chart that is getting displayed over here. This chart doesn't have any meaning to it because we just used random range of cells to create a chart. Now moving on to the next shortcut key, that is Alt plus Enter. So basically Alt plus Enter is used to enter a new line within a cell. So for example, I'll click Hi and I use Alt plus Enter and I hit Ram. And when I click the Enter button, you can see that Hi and Ram are on 2 different lines. And that's exactly what Alt plus Enter is supposed to do. So moving on, we have the next shortcut key, that is Control plus the tide symbol. So when we hit the Control and tide symbol, we can see that whatever the formulas that were beneath the cell pops up and shows that what all formulas are used inside the cell. So here we can see that earlier it was 55, 5.5, 10 and 1, but beneath it, it was a formula that calculated these totals, that is sum of these 2 ranges, the average of these two columns and the maximum value inside this range and the minimum value inside this range. So the control plus tide shortcut key shows us all the formulas which are underneath the Excel cells. Moving on to the next shortcut key, that is control plus 5. So basically what control plus 5 does is it strikes out whatever is there inside a cell. So if I select the cell which is written high RAM and hit control 5, you can see that all the content inside the cell got striked out. And if I had to undo it, you can just click on it and the strikeout disappears. Next we have the shortcut key, that is Ctrl G, and that is used for going to a specified cell. So when you hit Ctrl G, they are asking for a reference. So if I gave H8 as my reference, it moves to the H8 cell and shows that this is the content that is in H8. So that's what Ctrl G, the shortcut key, used for. So moving ahead, we have the next two keyboard shortcuts, that is Ctrl F and Ctrl H. So Ctrl F is basically used to find anything that is on a worksheet. So if I had to find the text, that shift inside the spreadsheet, I'll go ahead and type shift and hit find next, and Microsoft Excel finds wherever and shows me wherever shift is there. Now going ahead with Control H. So Control H is basically to find and replace the word that is found with the word that we require it to be replaced with. So I'll replace shift with ace and let's see what happens. I'll hit on the replace all button and they're saying all done. We made 3 replacements. So let's see 3 replacements, that is ace plus arrow, ace plus space and ace plus F11. So that were the 3 replacements that were made. Now for a time being, I'll undo these to get back to the topic. So now coming to the last and final shortcut key, that is Ctrl plus K. So Ctrl plus K creates a hyperlink to link another file. So let's go ahead and try it out. Click on the cell which is showing high RAM and let's say Ctrl plus K. And we can see a pop-up box showing insert hyperlink dialog box. Now let's give a Microsoft Edge and hit OK. Now you can see that the high RAM has become a clickable link. Now when we go ahead and click on this, it will show a prompt. We'll give OK and let's see what happens. So there comes the Microsoft Edge workbook. So that's how you create a hyperlink from a Microsoft Excel cell. Alright guys, awesome. So with that, we have come to an end to today's video. So there is one thing that I would like to say to all the new learners, is that Excel keyboard shortcuts comes with practice, and it's only by practice that you will be able to increase your productivity. With that note, I would like to thank all of you for watching the video. I'll be back very soon with the next one. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any queries or suggestions and I will respond to your comments.